Hello, collective. It's that time again. It's time for another exciting episode of Two Tone's Terrifying Tarot Tales. I'm your host, Two Tone, and we're going to dive into some terrible tales about some terrible people. So I got one. This person is really awful. We're going to see, we're going to find out what she's up to. Who is this person? Sidney Powell. She was one of Trump's lawyers. She's been around for a few years, maybe a few decades. Who is Sidney Powell? Sidney Catherine Powell is an American attorney and former federal prosecutor, best known for her promotion of conspiracy theories in attempts to overturn the 2020 United States presidential election. In October 2021, Powell was barred from Trump properties, and his staff will not put her calls through to him. Powell began her career as an assistant United States attorney in the Western District of Texas. During her tenure, she prosecuted Jimmy Chagra, who was implicated in the May 1979 assassination of United States District Judge John H. Wood Jr. She represented executives in the Enron scandal, and in 2019 defended retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, aka Q, in United States vs. Flynn. In 2020, Powell joined the legal team of then-President Donald Trump in an attempt to overturn Joe Biden's victory in the 2020 presidential election. After several interviews in which Powell spread election fraud theories, Trump's legal team distanced itself from her, though she continued to meet with the president in the White House. Powell continued filing election lawsuits independently in district courts and ultimately lost 4 federal lawsuits in Michigan, Georgia, Arizona, and Wisconsin. Powell claimed that Flynn was framed by a covert deep state operation and has promoted personalities and slogans associated with the QAnon conspiracy theory. She alleged that a secret international cabal involving communists, globalists, George Soros, Hugo Chavez, the Clinton Foundation, the CIA, and thousands of Democratic and Republican officials, including Trump ally and Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, used voting machines to transfer millions of votes away from Trump in the 2020 presidential election. After she accused the election technology companies Dominion Voting Systems and Smartmatic of engaging in a conspiracy to rig the election, Dominion and Smartmatic each sued her for defamation. In August 2021, a Michigan federal judge formally sanctioned Powell, Lynn Wood, and 7 other pro-Trump lawyers for their suit seeking to overturn Trump's election loss. The judge determined the 9 attorneys had participated in a historic and profound abuse of the judicial process by filing baseless and frivolous lawsuits in order to undermine public confidence in the democratic process. The judge ordered them to pay Michigan and Detroit for their expenses in defending against the lawsuit. The court also referred Powell and the other lawyers to state disciplinary authorities for possible disbarment for ethics violations. So this person, Sidney Powell, is a notorious attorney who tries to sue people, take charge, get power using false, baseless claims. Is she in the news? Let's see. Kraken lawyer Sidney Powell unwelcome at Trump resorts. That's funny, that's from a day ago. This is the beginning of October. Former federal prosecutor Sidney Powell turned into a laughingstock as she pushed QAnon and election fraud conspiracies. That was from Salon.com. The Hill. 3 Democrats call for investigation into Sidney Powell to move swiftly. A trio of Democrats is calling for the investigation into pro-Trump lawyer Sidney Powell's bar license to move swiftly. Newsweek. Ex-Trump attorney asks court to reduce city's bill for cost of bogus election fraud cases. Sidney Powell, a former attorney for the Donald Trump re-election campaign, has asked a federal court to reduce the legal fees. Ark Valley Voice. Court filing reveals Trump's voter fraud claim was a big lie. Rudy Giuliani, appearing on November 19th with Sidney Powell, made bizarre claims of massive voter fraud in the 2020 election. Bloomberg.com. Ex-Trump campaign lawyer Powell sues voting firm. Former Trump campaign lawyer Sidney Powell sued the voting technology company she falsely accused of rigging the 2020 presidential election. Forbes. Sidney Powell and Kraken lawyers asked to pay more than $200,000 in Michigan fraud case. Attorney Sidney Powell leaves a federal court in Washington, D.C. on June 24th. Associated Press. Newsweek. Sidney Powell drags Justice Samuel Alito and Supreme Court into January 6 mess. Attorney Sidney Powell said the January 6 riot at the Capitol could have caused a delay, which would have allowed, who knows what she's talking about. New York Daily News. Sidney Powell election antics could cost $200,000 in Michigan. Lawyer Sidney Powell and her team of attorneys that unsuccessfully challenged the results of the 2020 election in Michigan could face hell, hopefully. Yahoo News. Sidney Powell pushes election-related conspiracy theory about deaths in Georgia. Sidney Powell, high-profile attorney who backed former President Donald Trump's 2020 election fraud claims, pushed crap is what she pushed. The Daily Beast. MAGA conspiracy pusher Sidney Powell shares absurd ridiculousness. Sidney Powell, the former Donald Trump attorney who was dropped after her conspiracy theories, even embarrassed Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani, the man who stood in front of the public with his explosive cranium diarrhea dripping from the sides of his head. Rudy Giuliani, the man who appeared before the court on TV, farting on TV, appearing before court. Sidney Powell has embarrassed Rudy gassy diarrhea drip Giuliani. Wow, Sidney Powell. This person, I want to know what this person's brain is like. We have to do an X-ray. So hold on a second. We're gonna do a terrifying tarot tale. All right, guys, look at this list. I'm not gonna pick a spread. I'm just gonna end up pulling out 3 cards, and you might hear me shuffling right now. I'm shuffling the Infernal deck right now. So I want you to look at this list and pick a spread. Then I'm not gonna pick a spread. I'm just gonna pull out cards, and then towards the end we're gonna figure out which spread it ended up being. So that's my new thing, okay? We're going to try that out for a little bit. So pause it and think about which spread it might end up being. All right, did you guys pick one? All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to minimize this. And there she is, Sidney Powell. So hold on a second. Beauty of Horror deck, come to my hand. Pretty cool, huh? And I'm still working on that trick, trying to make it work. I'm going to shuffle this one more time on camera. We'll do a cut on camera. We'll make it into 4s. 4 winds, 4 directions, 4 elements, 4 seasons. And not the fake 4 seasons that her and Giuliani were at. Sidney Powell and Giuliani at fake 4 seasons. Ridiculous. Okay, universe, can we get a call? A call. Okay, universe, can we get a card for horrible Trump lawyer or ex-Trump lawyer, ex-federal prosecutor, Sidney Powell? Whoa, did you see that? It just jumped right out. So her first card is the King of Wands. I'm not sure what that is. Is that her past? Is that her situation? I don't know. We'll figure it out, though. Universe, need another card for Sidney Powell. 2 cards came out upside down. 2 cards came out. No, 3 cards came out. 3 cards came out upside down like this. All right, guys. This one would have hit the table first. What is it? The devil. The devil upside down. Okay, we'll put it up there. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure which order this is in. I think we're not going to pull out any more cards. I think we're good. This is the next card that came out upside down. The sun upside down. Isn't that interesting? All right, guys, this is the next card that came out upside down. The 3 of Wands. Wow. Let's see if we can get her face in here. Keep that creepy face. Yeah, with those chins. She got more chins than a Chinese phone book. Okay, so that's an old joke, guys. I still think it's funny today. I know maybe it's politically incorrect, but if there really was Chinese phone books, paper Chinese phone books, you walk over to a payphone in Chinatown in 1985, and you went to a Chinese phone book, you're going to find some chins in there. That's the truth. And I think she's got a lot of those chins going on. Look at that face of hers. Goodness. Oh, my God. All right, guys, we're going to read these cards here really quick. We were blessed with a whole bunch at once. So we got King of Wands upright. We got the Devil reversed, the Sun reversed, and the 3 of Wands reversed. So the first card that came out for Sidney Powell is the King of Wands. The king represents a man of status and wealth, an influential and independent person who is inclined to help those he cares about. You can rely on his honesty, intelligence, loyalty, and fair-mindedness, and you are sure to get good advice from him. If the king does not represent an actual person in your life, he can refer to a situation which is exactly as it appears to be with no hint of deception. This card can indicate that good fortune is coming your way, perhaps in the form of good news, a promotion, or an inheritance. See, I think that this might be somebody in her life, or this could be for us. Maybe the American people are getting some good news about this fool. For the Devil reversed, you feel trapped in a situation over which you feel you have no control, Sidney Powell. But close examination will reveal that your own attitudes and beliefs are causing the problem. Yeah, you're causing the problem, Sidney Powell. You're causing your own problem, you nut. The solution is to carefully examine your beliefs, your wrong beliefs, to learn how they are restricting you. Be careful of any quick fix to your problems, Sidney Powell, which are structural and not superficial. If you are willing to do the hard work, both on the inner and outer planes, you can solve the issues and achieve success on your own. Remember that Saturn rules the Devil card, and Saturn's influences are long-term. Hopefully she's going to be serving a long term somewhere. For the Sun reversed, it's interesting because the Sun card's always a good card. All of the previously mentioned qualities apply to the reversed Sun because it is never a negative card. So let's go back and look at the positive qualities of the Sun card. Generally considered a positive card, the Sun relates to energy, vitality, confidence, success, and good times. It signifies a time of new beginnings, of things going well, of accomplishment, success, and contentment. You feel cheerful and self-confident, full of life and vitality, ready to undertake a new project and make changes for the better. Whatever you're planning, you feel a great deal of enthusiasm for it and aren't worried about the outcome. Well, yeah, just go ahead. Keep planning those fake accusations for shit that's not true, Sidney Powell. Keep doing that. Yeah. So reversed, it's, however, the reverse position indicates that there will be delays. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of delays for you, Sidney Powell, for whatever you're trying to achieve, because whatever you're trying to do, it's stupid, foolish, illegal, untrue, inauthentic. Okay, and maybe you need to spruce up your appearance for that new job. You need to spruce up your appearance dramatically, Sidney Powell. You look sort of like, uh, who was that guy? He was in the Hangover movie. He was the cop, I think, in the Hangover movie. You sort of like him in a wig. He was also on the Daily Show with Jon Stewart before Jon Stewart left. He was a Marine. He was funny. He was a cop in the Hangover. Guys, you look like that guy in a wig. You need to spruce up your appearance, Sidney Powell. Ridiculous. Now is the time to explore new and more effective ways to express who you are to the outside world. No, we know who you are, Sidney Powell. You are a shyster, a scamster, a charlatan. I want to call you Charlie because you're such a charlatan. For her 301s reversed, you are doing most of the work on an internal level. Yeah. Clarifying your needs and formulating your sense of direction, you have resolved most of the problems connected to the situation or enterprise and negotiated the tricky bits. Interesting. You've negotiated the tricky bits, Sidney Powell. Now you can expect things to go smoothly when you do go public with your ideas. What are your ideas? The only benefit I see from you, Sidney Powell, going public is if you came out and exposed all the shit that gassy diarrhea drip Giuliani and Trump and the whole Trumplicans and their minions. If you went ahead and turned state's evidence and just exposed everything that was a part of all of that, the entire administration, that's the only way I could see you being a benefit to anyone, anywhere. Infernal deck, come to my hand. Okay, guys, I already shuffled it off camera. We'll do it one more time on camera. We'll do a cut. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, universe, we need clarification for the King of Wands for Sidney Powell. All right, guys, so this came out like this. I'm never really sure how to deal with this. So this came out like this. Normally, it would be like this, as abstaining. If it came out reverse, it would be like this. That would mean no abstaining, but it came out like this. I'm just going to put it right here. I don't know what this means. I think that there's a possibility of abstaining from the King of Wands. I think the King of Wands might be some dude in her life. It could be Flynn. It could be, the King of Wands could be Michael Flynn, the guy behind QAnon stuff. And she's always protecting him and promoting QAnon theories. And Michael Flynn is pledging allegiance to QAnon over pledging allegiance to the flag or America. So I'm not really sure who that King of Wands is. But there's the possibility of distancing probably and some abstaining from that guy. So, okay, universe, we need clarification for the devil reversed for Sidney Powell. That came out right away. Deficiency. So there's some deficiency in the devil energy of Sidney Powell is engaging in. That's good. Maybe her devil energy and her devilish ideas are starting to tone down. Maybe she's getting caught and she's getting slowed down and it's catching up with her. Okay, universe, we need clarification for the sun reverse for Sidney Powell. Again, it came out again like this. So let's see. Oh. All right, guys, either she's sweating really bad, which would make sense. It makes sense that she'd be sweating really bad. She's in trouble. She should be getting sued. She should be getting disbarred. She should be getting arrested. But it came out like this. So the other side is sexual discharge. Now, this could mean that she has some kind of weird sexual discharge, which could be associated that might be why she's sweating. She's sweating because she's got some kind of weird sexual discharge. Or she's sweating because she really badly needs to sexually discharge. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'll put it here like this. And I think that kind of both of those apply to her. She got some, she looks really closed up, prudish, you know. I think she's a really weird person. And I wouldn't be surprised if she needs to sexually discharge. And I wouldn't be surprised if she's got some nasty sexual discharge. Maybe the King of Wands has something to do with her sexual discharge. That's a whole other story, right? Okay, guys, we need, universe, we need clarification for the Three of Wands reverse for Sydney Sexual Discharge Powell. Oh, that came out right away. Lethargy. There's some lethargy there with that watching and waiting card. Yeah. You know what? I want to read what the Three of Wands said again. For that reverse Three of Wands, it says that Sidney Powell is doing most of the work on an internal level, clarifying her needs and formulating her sense of direction. She's being real lethargic about that. She's slowly contemplating inside where she should go, where she should be, who she is. Why does she look like the guy from Hangover with the wig? You have resolved most of the problems connected to the situation or enterprise and negotiated the tricky bits. Yeah, I think she negotiated the tricky bits of the King of Wands over here, and those tricky bits had something to do with her sexual discharge. Because if, the sun is the delight and bliss of life, and she's having sexual discharge interrupting her bliss, probably from the King of Wands, I'm guessing this is Flynn. It could be Trump. It could be Trump. It could be gassy diarrhea drip, Giuliani, too. He looks a little bit like Giuliani, right? So I guess she's being lethargic about all her bits and pieces. Look, she's wearing these gloves here. She's a freak. All right, so now we're going to find out which demons are hanging around sexual discharge Sidney Powell. Occult Tarot deck, come to my hand. I've already shuffled it once off camera. We'll shuffle once on camera. And we'll do a cut. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, guys. Okay, universe. We, the people of America, would like to know which demon or demons are hanging around Sidney Powell. Don't be distracted by that face. We know there's some demons hanging around her. We know it. Whoa. A chunk just fell out. They fell out like this. This would be the first demon hanging around her. Cameo. I remember Cameo in the 1980s. It wasn't spelled like that. Word up. So Cameo is associated with the Fool. Look at this guy. Gives understanding of animals and the voice of the waters. Answers of things to come. She's trying to figure out the future. She's trying to figure out her Cameo future. This was the next one that came out. Astaroth, which is associated with justice. Tell how the angels feel. Astaroth can tell you how the angels feel. It reveals the past, present, and future and teaches the liberal science. Wow. Yeah, these conservatives. They don't like anything liberal. So maybe Astaroth is a good thing to have around her. Huh. We'll see. We'll see in a minute here. And then this is the last one. Bautis. Looks like a big-ass snake, huh? Associated with the Page of Swords. And gives answers of past, present, and future. Reconciles friends and foes. See, she seems to be tapped into the past, present, and future a lot, huh? And she's trying to hold on to whatever friends she still has. I don't think she has a lot of friends right now because she's a fool, right? This person is a fool. Cameo, the demon, the weird-looking bird demon, is associated with the fool. All right, guys, I think this is going to conclude this episode of Two Tone's Terrifying Tarot Tales featuring Sidney Powell, the freak. So stay away from this person. Do not support this person. She's wearing black gloves because you have no idea where her finger's been. So watch out for her. Don't listen to her. Ignore her. She's a fool. She's about to get into serious trouble. She's got some serious sexual discharge issues. So I'm going to conclude that, and we're going to call it a wrap. And until next time, I'll see you later.